And you're going to pose with your Shivom mug.
I have to see how I hold it.
Like, a little bit of product placement by Shivom. Want to get more Bitcoin? Well, one way to get more Bitcoin is by mining, and you can mine with elevategroup.io. They're in Irkutsk, so they have really cheap electricity. You can buy the miners online, and these are the miners that are currently available at the time of recording. You can track their progress, see what they're doing. Your miners are doing through the Awesome Miner dashboard, and that way everything is transparent. They publish the profits and the costs and everything publicly on the Telegram group. I do invite you to go check it out, join the Telegram group, and this might be something that you want to take up. Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. I have with me Axel Schumacher. Axel is the CEO of Shivom, and he is returning to this channel after a long hiatus. I think the last time was about a year ago during their ICO. And in this video, we're going to be finding out what's been happening with Shivom and what they got on the roadmap coming up ahead. Now, before I introduce him, I'm going to ask him if any of this is investment advice.
No, it definitely is not any investment advice.
It definitely is not, nor is it in any way genetically related by marriage or gene splicing to anything that might be investment advice. Am I correct, Axel? Because you're a doctor, right?
You're absolutely correct. So
there is no chromosomal or genetic link to investment advice. All I'm doing in this video and all my other videos is sharing with you what I'm discovering as I travel along on the blockchain. Do your own due diligence. Do not invest any more than you can afford to lose. All right. Okay, Axel, thank you so much for making yourself available.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry. It's just been so long anyway, which is my bad. Because
I'm happy to bring the community up to date what we are doing, and because so much happened over the last year, so there's enough to talk about for a long time.
Very good, very good. Okay, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about yourself and then a little bit about Shivom?
Yeah. So first of all, I have to correct you because I'm not any longer the CEO of Shivom. So we did a little bit reorganization of our team, and we have now Henry Ines, the famous Henry Ines, is our since like more than half a year our new CEO. And he's a fantastic guy, and he is from San Francisco, so he's from the venture capital background. And he's the right guy to move Shivom really to the next level, to make this really a large business and a large company.
Okay.
So I reverted basically back to what I'm really good at, and that this is science. So I'm now Chief Scientific Officer of Shivom, and this is how we rebuild everything a little bit.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. So he's got a business background.
Exactly.
He's the CEO because this is a business, and you've got a science background. So you're going to do the science stuff rather than the business.
Always do what you can do best.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali should box, and Elvis should sing, and not vice versa.
Exactly. So yeah, but coming back to your question, so yeah, as I just mentioned, I'm a scientist, so I'm a trained geneticist, and I worked for many years in the neuroscience field, in the genetics and epigenetics field. So the first years of my career, mostly in the academic environment. So I had my own research group in different countries. So I moved a little bit around, and my group worked primarily on complex diseases such as Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and other complex diseases, also cancer, diabetes, so different things. And a few years back, then I moved into the bioinformatics area, and there I got...
Epigenetics, genetics, all of that, neurology, I understand. Bioinformatics.
Bioinformatics, like how you use all this data we collect in the sciences and
Right.
make it actionable. All the data crunching, basically,
Okay.
data analytics. And at that time, I noticed that we have a huge problem in the pharmaceutical sciences and the medical sciences, that it is difficult to share highly sensitive data, like genomic data.
Mhm.
This is the most precious information you can possibly have. This is what you are.
Mhm.
And to share this data, for example, with a researcher, this is not trivial. You want to keep this data confidential. You don't want to find your genome information somewhere in the web once after you have shared it with someone. And this is when I got interested in blockchain technology and how we can use blockchain and cryptographic methods to make this whole process secure and build basically a whole business. And by learning how it works, studying it, so I got more and more interested and saw really this massive opportunity in it, combining all these new technologies, blockchain, cryptography, genetics, AI, and other technologies. And I wrote a book about it. It was like 2 years ago, and it was, to my surprise, a really huge success. And that basically led me and my co-founder, Goresh Singler, to found Shivom,
Mhm.
our vision a reality, right? And yeah, here we are now. Shivom is now over a year old officially, and we started to build a platform that helps people to manage their healthcare data, to share their healthcare data, like genomic data, and to monetize it, all in a very secure way, so that there's no way that their data can be in any way compromised or stealed or whatever.
And it's also anonymized as well. Like I can, if I remember correctly, I get to control the access
Exactly.
to the different layers of
Right.
information.
So how it works is that once you sign up on our platform, you basically tell us what happens to your data.
Mhm.
You are the data owner. So even if you, let's say, if you upload your genome information or if you get sequenced with us, we do not own your data like other companies do. Once you sign up with other platforms, you do not own your data anymore. They can do whatever they want. They sell it to pharma companies or other researchers. Our business model works completely different. You still own your data. You just grant access to your data in a very fine-grained manner.
Mhm.
Let me explain how this can work. So, for example, you can say, hey, look, I have a family history of diabetes, okay, and I'm interested in supporting diabetes research. So I want to grant access to researchers that are interested in my data, my genome information, or other so-called omics data. They can have access to it. They can run their algorithms on it, and they can do whatever they want with it. But you could also say, I'm also willing to share this data with the pharmaceutical industry, so that they can develop drugs based on my data. But if they access my data, they should pay for it. Okay, and we're using smart contracts that make this an automatic process on the platform. That means if a pharmaceutical company accesses your data, you are automatically paid for it. Okay,
Right.
but you could also say, what happens in an emergency? Let's say you're hospitalized. Now, this could be anything, like you fall from your bike, or you get a stroke, a heart attack, whatever can happen to a human being when you're hospitalized. The doctors at the hospital, they may be very interested in your healthcare data, in your health records, or in your genome data, so that they, based on this information, can give you, from the first minute you are in the hospital, give you the right treatment at the right time.
Mhm.
So you could say, okay, I grant in emergency cases access to my data, to a hospital, or to my doctor, to my physician, or to family members. Or you could specify to have a data custodian. Let's imagine you're an Alzheimer patient in a very early stage. You know, in a few months, you may lose control over your decision making. Then you can say, okay, so my daughter or my wife or whoever it is, or my doctor, so I will grant them basically not only the access but also the management rights to my data, so that it can be used for research purposes. So this is a very fine-grained manner. Right now, we have only a few things you can select at the platform, but in time, we will add more and more of these fine-grained access mechanisms so that you can really exactly determine what happens with your data and what cannot happen at all.
Right, okay. Now, why would a company, a pharma company, come to Shivom to get the data versus going to one of the already established businesses?
Well, there are several good reasons for that. What we are doing is we collect data really from all around the planet. So in time, of course, not at the beginning, but in time, once we collect more and more data, this data set that we are building has enormous value because it helps really to understand how lifestyle, how our genome information affect really our health. And by leveraging this data, and you can use actually the newest technologies on our platform for this. As a researcher, you can dive really deep into this data and find potentially new cures for diseases. So what we did to enable this process is, and this is, I think, is really cool and absolutely unique on the planet. There's no one else who offers this. We are not only offering the data on one hand, we offer also the data analytics capabilities at the same time. That means a researcher just has to sign up with our platform. And again, let me give you an example. They're interested in, let's say, study Parkinson's disease. And I can say, okay, we select 500 patients from the Shivom database, 500 controls. Basically, you move it to your dashboard. And then you grab what we call bioinformatics pipelines together with your data. So these bioinformatic pipelines, these are basically algorithms that crunch data. In the future, what we also want to implement is, and we have already some partnerships with other companies like SingularityNet, is to also offer AI algorithms that can help, so like deep learning algorithms, to understand this very complex data that we're collecting. And this is really, I think this is absolutely a fantastic thing. Right? For research, this is something we could never do in the past, in our history. You find information from all around the world. You take your algorithms, put everything together, and you get results quickly and without investing huge sums in in-house servers, researchers, all this, what you need to have basically running R&D in-house.
Okay, and why hasn't that been possible before?
I think it's primarily because it's complex, and no one dared probably to build such a platform. We are the first one that said, okay, yeah, it's difficult, but so what? We just do it.
Okay.
But I think the clever thing, and I have to pat myself a little bit on the shoulder. Like, on the other hand, we do not want to reinvent the wheel. So what we are doing is we're building a precision medicine ecosystem. That means we invite other scientists, other startup companies from the medical field, from the blockchain field, from the AI field, wellness, wherever we see a benefit, to work with us, to work and building this platform together. because we do not have solutions for everything. Medicine, drug development, genomics, this is very, very complex. And we do not have all the solutions to it. But we may find solutions within the services and products of our partners that we have on our platform. Again, let me give you an example how this works. So we have one partnership with LifeBit. LifeBit is a bioinformatics or data analysis company, also based out of London, UK. And we implemented their solution on our platform, which in turn helps researchers to combine the data sets with algorithms. So we don't have this expertise in-house, but we use LifeBit's expertise to put this together. And this works in all kinds of other areas as well. Like if we want to add expertise to, let's say, nutritional sciences, so diets. So we work with a company that has the expertise and it can offer their services or products on our platform.
Okay. And the token economy is that to be able to access the data, these companies have to purchase it with P-Data. Sorry, not P-Data. That's another project. OMX tokens, which they then some of that goes to the project and some of that goes to the person who owns the data. So
there's a whole big automated economy behind it. Let's see at the use case. Imagine some researcher in a pharma company wants to access a data set. Let's say, again, let's say they want to analyze 1,000 cases of diabetes on our platform.
Yeah, or it could be like 1,000 women who are pregnant, or 1,000 women who've never been mothers.
Exactly.
To access that sort of information, 1,000 people from this part of the world.
They don't have to even have a disease. That this could be some other factor that makes them unique or interesting.
Yeah.
For example, another project we are interested in is in people that get very old, so super centenarians, or that have a disease and despite the disease live longer. Now, there is endless combinations. Or people that live a certain lifestyle, certain diets, endless opportunity. So, but coming back to the use case, so the researcher accesses the data, accesses algorithms, and we bring these two together. Then the researcher will see, okay, to run this job, this data crunching, this data analysis on our platform costs, let's say, $450.
Mm-hmm.
Then an automatic smart contract is triggered, which pays, on one hand, of course, the platform owner, so us, a certain percentage, but a lot of the payment goes directly to the data owners. So in this case, these 1,000 diabetes patients,
mm-hmm.
they would be paid for providing their data for research. Okay, so they would get omics tokens in real time, and a part of the tokens would go to our tech partners. This could be a company that provides the algorithms or other services or products. So this is then an automatic process. Of course, in turn, let's say if you provided your data and you earned your tokens, you can use the tokens then on our precision medicine marketplace for all kinds of services and products that helps to keep you healthy or to make you healthy.
Right.
Wellness, fitness, medical products, advice. This could be in the future also services of doctors. This could be anything that you can find in normal healthcare ecosystem. We have already one partnership, to give an example, to illustrate it a little bit more. We partnered with Family Care Plan. This is a spin-off of Cleveland Clinic in the US. And Just actually yesterday, we started a pilot with them, and we provide genetic counseling services to our users of the platform, particular to people that may have a family history with a genetic disease or a predisposition to a complex disease, if it's cancer, diabetes, or cardiovascular disease. If they want to have more information about how they can maybe prevent the disease in the first place and how to use their genetic information to do this, they can access a genetic counseling session over our marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And their omics tokens. This is one potential use case. And again, this is what I find so fascinating. Is you can basically, in the future, we want to have an endless supply of potential use cases where you can use your tokens to stay healthy, to improve your wellness and for your family members, and at the same time to boost research, to support research. I think it's just a fantastic platform.
Okay, and the projects that want to buy the data or access the platform, where would they get the omics tokens? Do they pay in fiat and you give them the omics tokens, or do they go to an exchange?
Well, at the moment we are at the very early stages, so
right.
At the moment we make it, of course, easy to have to onboard them, because not everyone has the expertise to work with tokens. So that means we make it in several layers. So in the long term, so we work on a solution that a company doesn't have to basically use any tokens.
Mm-hmm.
It just works underneath. They can just pay with fiat, and the whole token mechanism work underneath in the platform automatically. So they don't have to worry about going to an exchange and getting tokens. So this would be too complicated. This would be a ridiculous process.
Okay, and then where are we at with the platform, and where are we at with the project, and what's happening, and when platform, Axel?
Good question. Very good question. So so we released already a few months back in the alpha version, so kind of a test version to our community, so that they could test it out a little bit, and we got excellent feedback on how we can improve it. And we have scheduled for early to mid-July to release our MVP, so our first official platform. So users will be able to access our precision medicine marketplace. They will be able to upload their healthcare data, like genomic data, if they have it already. Typical use case would be, let's say, if you would have been sequenced already with, let's say, services like 23andMe, or if you had an ancestry test, which is a lot of companies that provide this. You can use this data, upload it to our platform, or you can access already services that we have already implemented on our platform. You can access genetic testing. You can get also ancestry information on our platform. It's one of our partners. So there are a lot of things you can do already.
Well, okay.
And of course, after this release, we will then slowly, incrementally add new features steadily. And there's a lot. We have so many things planned. There's a huge list of features that we are working on.
Any you can tell us about, or types of features you can tell us about?
Well, we work on a lot of things, but I can tell you, of course, already on some of the things we have already on our marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is, and then we are very excited about this, because this is really, really cool science, and this is epigenetics. We partnered with another startup.
Axel, before you continue, just if anybody's not clear, epigenetics is the science. No, well, let me see, as a layperson, is the science of how genes get activated and triggered due to environmental factors.
Perfect.
Not bad for a social worker.
Perfectly. You are a born scientist.
I'm a social worker.
Perfect.
But actually, a slight detour. It is very interesting for me because I've recently had a medical test, not a genetic test, right? I have very high LDL and very high HDL. I've been on a high-fat diet for 8 or 9 years, and I don't get colds or flus. I've had all sorts of health improvements, and my doctor wants to see me. Anyway,
You should upload your data to our platform so
but I don't have any genetic information in there. I can give you the
that you can get from us. And that this is a cool thing where I want to go.